told us. Okay, so we pick it up. Kuf Sadivav. We're holding in Sif Beis. Sif Beis, Baruch Hashem. There's a lot of what to talk about over here. So Sif Beis is Rasa Yom Echad. Is Rasa Yom Echad. I'll take a moment, hopefully just a moment, just to quickly go through what exactly is going on in the sugya. We have 2 or 3 potential shitas. This is the Gemara Niddah, Samachasam and Aleph. We have Rav Yehuda, who says Min HaMincha U'Lamayla. And then we have a Tanakama that says B'dika Shachris, and we have Chacham that say B'dika Shachris. Are the Chachamim and the Tanakama 2 different people? Is Machlekes Achronim? You also Rashi, so you assume it's 2 different people because that's the way Rashi learns. That the Tanakama is learning that B'dika B'Shachris, whereas the Chachamim are saying any day, even b'yom beis shall you may niddah. Now we all realize we're going in Niddah's Daraisa over here. Niddah's Daraisa does not require Nekiim. Rather, you need to do a Hefsik and then Medavkin Vaiter to the mikvah. We have to wait 7 days. So what's going on over here is, as you saw in the Gemara, is that the Shaila is, let's say on day 3 you did a Bedika. Beautiful, she's clean. Day 4, day 5, day 6, for those few days she's touching tyrus, etc. Day 6.5, all of a sudden she sees blood. What happens to everything she touches in between? The answer is, we assume she has a chazaka, a chazkas taira. From here we're learning out the din of Hefsik Taharah. That's what we're learning out from over here. Interesting is the Taisa Rosh learns that the Tanakam and the Chacham are really the same person. Okay, very good. What do we paskin like? So Sif Beis comes along, and Sif Beis teaches us Rasa Yom Echad Bilvad. This is where it's most relevant, is when you see Yom Echad. Now what does Yom Echad mean? We'll get to in a moment. Upaska by B'Yom Sricha livdaik atzma b'moich dochuk, says the Ramah. But the evidence okay without a moich dochuk, but you need a bedikas. You cannot do, a bedikas shachris. You need a bedikas bein hashmashis, which means samach lebein hashmashis. And the reason being, because we're being makbid that you can't do a bedika in the morning. Can't do a bedika in the morning. Now, does anyone, you know what? There's too much over here. We're gonna leave out. Let's go straight into the Lamaisa. We'll leave out the Rishayim. Does anyone really paskin like Rav Yehuda? Okay, let's move on. So let's just go straight into Shulchan Aruch. That what is the Lamaisa? Lamaisa is Rasa Yom Echad. Now what's the case of Rasa Yom Echad? So you all saw the Shach and Taz point out Mayan Pasuach. The question is, what in the world does Mayan Pasuach mean? So when you read the words of the Shulchan Aruch, you assume what it means is you have a 1-day Riyah. Now the Mayan was a Pasuach. Whereas if you have a 3-4 day Riyah, like a regular woman, then it's not Mayan Pesuach. And therefore, in the regular scenarios, this stuff is not Negea. Meaning, a woman sees her period, she waits a requisite 5 days, then she starts doing her Hefsik Taharah. Could she do it Babaikir? The answer is L'chatchila, no, like we spoke about yesterday. But if she does it, it's fine. Why? Because she's not a Rasa Yom Echad. What would be a case of Rasa Yom Echad in the simple sense? Is that, in general, it will happen usually after birth, is a classical case. She thinks she's ready to do her Hefsik Taharah, she'll do her Hefsik Taharah, and maybe she'll get 1 day, she'll get 2 days, and day 3, Shalom Aleichem, to my period. And a proper rasa, she sees her whole period, a rasa Yom Echad, a gush of blood, that's a rasa Yom Echad. So what's an afkamina? The next day, what changes? What changes is when she tries her Hefsik Taharah again. Number 1, don't do it in the morning. Forbidden to do it in the morning. It's going to mess you up. Number 2 is Moch is very, very heavier weighted in such a scenario. So that will be the classical case. But I mean that she's coming off a Rasa Yom Echad. She's coming off of a Rasa Yom Echad. Let's say that was Monday, correct?
So you're saying Tuesday she can't do it in the morning?
No, I'm assuming that she saw at night. Okay, good. I'm getting involved in the shalos. Let's go slowly. I agree with what you're saying. So let's agree. Excuse me. You're correct. Let's go in order. You're correct. On Monday. Good. Nikuda. On Monday. Now, what if she sees Monday night? That's the next stop. We'll go in order. I'm sorry. I'm all over the place. Let's say she sees Monday night. What's the status of Tuesday? Is Tuesday part of her Rasa Yom Echad? Very normal scenario. And what would everyone assume without knowing anything? Yeah. Like in Judaism, the night comes before the day. And therefore, l'chayra it's nichlal and rasi yom echad. The Shevet Alevi says it explicitly, amongst other achrayim, and therefore, a b'dika shachris would not help. Would not help. Now, what's lamaisa with the moich in this scenario? Let's start with this scenario. Again, she sees a proper rasi yom echad on Monday no b'dika shachris. On Monday she needs a moich. Let's say she doesn't do a moich. So we saw that the Shulchan Aruch says sricha moch dochuk. The Ramah says b'diavad it's okay. So what does it sound like? B'diavad it's okay. Lamaisa, which of course at the end of the day is going to be the psak, but just to bring out the severity of the matter, and I want to read you the words of Rav Moshe, the Gaon disagrees. The Gaon in Sifkat Ches, obviously the Gaon is complicated to read. That's how the Zayin Nekiim learned the Gaon, that the Gaon is being machmir. The Gaon is being machmir, that even b'diavad, a moich will be makif, like the shita of the machaber. The Sidrei Taira, right. L'shita sai, correct. Sidrei Taira as well, 100%. Comes in Rav Moshe. I want to read the words of Rav Moshe, Chelik Beis Siman Ayin Tes. Says Rav Moshe, that which Ramah says in Arsif Beis, that b'diavad and b'ad kazam lebein hashmashayis, u'matzah Taira sagi, af l'shlaya meichas l'kol bein hashmashayis. Sounds so good. Hek shalav b'sidrei Taira, Sivkat and Tes, Saiv de Ramaskov and early. V'nishar b'tzarech in gadol. Sidrei Taira is quite violent. V'chein hek shar goin, Sivkat and Ches. So, by the way, Ramesh is telling us how to learn the Gaon. If you look at the Gaon, he's asking a kasha. Someone say, Shkayach Gaon, what's the kasha? Meaning, if he's asking a kasha on the Ramah, it means the Gaon is saying to go like the Mechaber. Ulechein. So says Ramesh, this is the Shver Shaila. We have a Ramah. On the other hand, we have a Sidrei Taira. We have a Gaon. Says Ramesh, Av shaloi nivat lo shitas Ramah. Says Ramesh, you can't destroy a Ramah. No, we know Ramesh himself at times does do such, but he feels you can't be mavatel the sheet of the Ramah. Mitzara kushya, mikol makoim yoiser noite kedas machaber ve'ena kisafik hashalkol ulachein yesh lahachmer liyos etzle kol hasafik deseisek kechavim. So Ramesh is basically saying is that it's pretty shver. That's what he's coming out. Now lemaisa sounds like he's been given to go with the Ramah because b'nei Yisrael yotzim b'yad Ramah. Klal Yisrael Ashkenazim, we go with the Ramah. However, Ramesh is pointing out this is not like no. Ramesh is saying this is a serious situation. That's really the nusach that many poskim use, that b'shasat chak, meaning it has to be a serious matziv, meaning they're upping the severity. The Ramah just said b'diavad. What does the Ramah sound like? You did it good, he didn't do it. No, move on in life. But the poskim are pointing out that via the Gaon and the Sidrei Taira, and of course the Chavas Das, it's much of it. Yeah, that is what b'diavad usually means. Once it happened, and then shasat chakis could be avidam, and it's true. But
it still sounds like the Ramah holds that you have to do it.
No, for sure. Right. The question is what level? What level of tzairich? Again, one who learns the Ramah, b'diavad about ka'atzma, u'matzah tahira, aflishay mechatzikom enishmasha, sagi. Sounds like, according to the Ramah, okay, sounds like you need a tzairich. It sounds like it's not the shverest thing in the world. Ramesh is just upping the ante. I agree with you. Ramesh is upping the ante a little bit. Well, we didn't get to that, Shalia. Right. We're going to get there in a moment. Right now, we're going in a real Rasi Yamechad. Regular Rasi. I pointed out what does Rasi Yamechad mean. We're assuming it means see on one day. That's what we're assuming right now. We're going to go Keseder. So on Monday. What happens Sunday night? That's called Monday L'chayra. There's an Aruch HaShulchan and Sevav that maybe not so klar, but let's get there. So now, what about a kesem? So this we have text on. What about a kesem? Shach says that a kesem is not a problem. Very good. Shach, it's not Mayin Besuach, so it's not Rasi Yamechad. That is the Shach as quoted by all the Paiskim. It's quoted by all the Paiskim. It's quoted by all the Paiskim. So now, let's go more weiter. What if Lamaisa, she saw, like a regular woman, for multiple days? So what is she a Rasi Yom Echad? So what's the answer? L'chayra not. It's not Yom Echad. So comes along, and that's l'chayra when you learn the page of the Shulchan Aruch. That's what you come out with. You saw the Machaber, you saw the Ramah, you saw the Shach, the Taz. No one comments. So that is what you would think. And that is Lamaisa, how the Zayin Nekiim seems to say, the Badi Shulchan seems to say, and move on in life. However, comes along the Sidrei Taira and the Chavis Das, and most notably the Chachmas Adam, Paskins like them, and they say no. They say the day that you saw is considered a Yom Echad. That what does Mayan Pesuach mean? This is like a Tum of a Taira, take a sugya to figure out what is Mayan Pesuach. It doesn't just mean it's opening; it means it's open. What's called open? What's called open is open. So if she saw it today, that's called open. Says the Sidrei Taira. If she's Paska B'Taira Bishar, Imrasa Boy Bayayim. If that day she saw, then says the Sidrei Taira, it's in Sif Beis. We'll point out, L'chavayd Hakayin Katzmin Steen, that the Sidrei Taira L'shitasai upstands even more, as we already pointed out, like the Goin, that he says the Moch is Mamish Makif. So we said that Azayvite maybe not, but what about the B'dika Shachris? Sidrei Taira says 100%, the Chavasas says as well as we pointed out the Chachmas Adam. The article book says one should be chayshish for this lichatchila. What's the nafkamina? The nafkamina is, but let's be careful. It's rasa. Do you have the article book in your table over there? No. You're writing. Could you get it the second chelik, please? I want to see the word he uses. We're talking about rasa. What does rasa mean? She sees. So far, we've differentiated rasa versus kesem. Kesem nisht, rasa, yeah. So now we're talking about Shlav 2, page 175. 165, excuse me. We're talking about Shlav 2, in which we're extending Rasa. Why am I saying extending? Because the simple reading of the Shulchan Aruch, etc., does not say such. So, yeah, very good. Good, thank you very much. I want to read this in a second. This is exactly what we're pointing at. So it's a flow. It's a flow, not a kesem. Even in a scenario that this is going to be negea, it's like we said, what a woman has a regular re'iyah, it's day 5, she does her hefsik taharah, l'chayr is very negea, right? Can't do it b'dika shachris. The answer is it really negea? She has a flow in day 5. What does she have in day 5? She has or ksam. So I would like to read you, as Rabbi Forrest so eloquently always does. He says, if the Hefsik Taharah is not done on the first day of the flow, but on a day in which there's a residual flow, as is usually the case, many places can rule Hefsik Taharah must be done within 2.5 hours of nightfall, like we're talking about. Others rule you can rely on the B'dika morning. Okay, we understand all these opinions like we just said. Won't you do Hefsik Taharah in the late afternoon? However, if she forgot, she can rely on the B'dika B'shachris. Okay, very good. What type of flow creates a status of a quote-unquote first day? The rules cited above certainly apply to Hefsik Taharah following a full flow. Do they apply to a stain or B'dika cloth? So he says no, because a flow is psichas hamayim, whereas a kesem not, as we just saw. What is the story with? I realized I forgot he writes a lot. But the point of the story is he goes into the nitty gritty that lamaisa usually it's going to be a kesem, it's going to be a flow after a kesem after a flow, v'chulu. So even in the chumrah, it's not going to be so negea. What about a bedika? What about a bedika? Bedika that was bad. A bedika was bad on Tuesday. Does that label Tuesday as a rasa yom echad, or a bedika was bad Monday night? A bedika was bad Tuesday morning. She wants to do another bedika. So this is, meaning does have a status of a rasa. That's the shayla. So we have on one hand rasa, on the other hand kesem.
Very applicable to anyone who's trying to do it.
Yeah, but every woman in the world, you get a messed up bedika, what do you do the next time you try? Yes, very, very common, which is exactly what he says over here. He says a stain on bedika cloth. If she finds a stain on bedika cloth that wishes to have Hefsik Taharah on the same day, many poskim rule that what's number one? She has to do a moich. The lechatchila, because she has, it's called a rasa yom echad.
That's more of a reason to do a moich if you had a
Correct, because now you're within the gedarim of a rasa yom echad.
So if she tries doing Hefsik Taharah and it comes out dirty, it's just the Hefsik Taharah now with the moich?
And it can't be done in the morning. Which would mean, let's play a normal case, a woman has her period Tuesday morning, she does a b'dika b'boiker, and it comes out bad. So now what's good? Excuse me, Hefsik Taharah, thank you. She has Hefsik Taharah by biker on Tuesday morning, comes out bad. So the fact that she did it Tuesday morning was fine because she didn't see any blood that day. But now she saw blood that day. So now what happens? She can't do another Hefsik Taharah by biker, and rather she has to do a Hefsik quite samach lebein hashmashes. Va'oid, the moich becomes very, becomes much more important. Now lemaisa, 1 second. Yeah.
We just said a trickle on day 5.
No. So this is part of the same category. No. I'm agreeing. I'm not saying lemaisa. I'm saying you're right. It's the same geder. All we're pointing out is we have to have what's galat, and as things trickle down, pardon the bad pun, you have the rasa yom echad. What's a rasa yom echad? A full flow yom echad. Good. Then the next shlav we took that to was that the achrayim are some are extending it to multiple day rasa on that day you saw. Gevaldik. Now shlav 3 is what? Is a kesem we know not. So once you get the kesem, you're out. But what about a trickle? I don't know, a little bit unclear. Achrayim get involved. What about a bedika cloth? So a bedika cloth lamaisa again. It's machlekes achrayim. There's a Ramesha. Ramesha lamaisa is mekel. Ramesha is mekel. Says Ramesha, hinei me'inyan sheshamati sheberetz Yisrael yesh shepoiskim shebirikura kazeh shematz adam ala bedika tipas dam loy rak shesaseres Hefsik Taharah. Again, so he's saying, let's say on day 3, let's go into another case. She starts Hefsik Taharah, it's good. On day 3, boom, bad bedika. Sakra Moshe, you know what I heard? In Eretz Yisrael, not only are they saying a mess up or Hefsik Taharah, ela nechshev is mamish kira sarak yoy machas shasvik alachas Moch Dochuk me'etzem adin. And so that's what Moshe says. Lemaisa definitely are many places in Eretz Yisrael that are very violent about this point. This is on the list of the reminders during Shavivim that, by the way, if you have a bad bedika, not only is it a bad bedika, but the Moch Dochuk is very important, and the bedika b'abayker is very important. V'chulu becomes like Ramesha. Now, I don't think what I'm reading here is the proper tshuva because it says Shavim shir. Like this is what the Rav gets up at the Shavim shir. This is one of the list to scream about, and I've heard it myself. And he's proud about it, so I'll tell you his name, Rav Nachum Eisenstein. He says B'Shem Al Yashin, it's one of the things, he says, it's a terrible avla, is that not only are you get a bad bedika, whatever, if you get a bad bedika, but lamaisa, then you have to do a moich. Meaning normally a moich is l'chatchila mayakur divrei rashba, as we spoke about yesterday in the Veltza machsavek a moich. I don't know where that came from. V'oid, if it's after a bad bedika, it's shreklach, and it's even like kuva. Mamish a niddah going to the mikvah. What?
That's not like cool according to everyone. So you still
I'm saying what the Machmir hold. I would say the Gain holds it is. The Gain won Eretz Yisrael we spoke about yesterday, right?
Yeah.
So they're saying, if you're the Gain, you can't, you're out. Yes.
No, we spoke. This is like Sif and Dalit and.
So that's a Shaila. That's the Shaila. How to deal with that.
Why wouldn't that be?
Why here would it be different? So it's again, it could be it's the same machlekes. It could be not. It could be that is a raya. You have to check. Ramesh continues, and Amar Rabbeinu Shizel Leinach. That's why I think I'm reading from a different one of the Ramesh's farm. I don't think this is the proper tshuva because it wouldn't say Amar Rabbeinu because that'd be weird. Amar Rabbeinu Shizel Leinach. Bavadei Loinach Shizek Rasi Yemechad. The Rasi Yemechad have a lamashal. B'mikosh isha b'mita hayra rasadam. Aval ri'ay debedika loy nechshav karasa. Rabbeinu Haisif. So for the chaver that are holding in chavra, where are you holding? The Ramesh I just showed you in Sif Tas. Aisha Shamar belivda karezi mishubachas. So we already in Siman Kuf Pei Dalid when we saw about the sugya of libay nakva your peiresh, we spoke out Ramesh in Yardei Chelik Dalid Siman Zayin Sivkat Chavchas. Says Ramesha, fascinating tshuva, a chiddush that we spoke about many times. That if you end up being tummy, is this a reis such as Avshalav? Absolutely not. Why not? So you have Avshalav, says Ramesha Nain. Why not? Because you're only going to be mavara. What are you going to end up doing? You're just going to be machmir. You're not actually being mavara. So in this tshuva, or this quotation, Ramesha says the same thing. Klape our bedika, whether it's called a re'iyah. Let's see how far he took this chiddush. He says, "Mistamal leishchicha shetimsa isha mamish tipas dam." It's not really dam on the bedika law. Ela al bedika, excuse me. Rak yamar misupak. Val mara misupak ish laisav sheish oid siba lama lemavatel Hefsik Taharah v'chulu. Meaning he's saying that it's not mamish dam. To call a re'iyah a rasa is if it's mamish dam, but if it's a shade, if it's a color, if it's a shver bedika, that the Rav says, unfortunately, I have to be machmer on to call that a rasa yom echad. It's another reason Ramesha throws on. So, with that, we will move on. Givaldik. Do you have any questions before we go into Sif Gimel? Once, twice? No? Sif Gimel. What Sif Gimel? Sif Gimel is white underwear. Says, no, incorrect. Not white underwear, there was no underwear. White garments. White garments, Sif Gimel. So says Sif Gimel, why are we wearing white garments? That wasn't an answer. I mean, it's a partial answer. Is it lahakal or lahachmir? It's lahachmir. It's both. Okay, that's not possible. So it could be a machlokes. It can't be both. So you also the machzah shekel that says what? Lahakal. Why? Because she might have blood on her body prior, and it's going to come to mess her up. Tilavish chalak habadok. Clean. Well, starts with clean and then it gets to white. But on the whole takana, slow. We're going to the whole takana. The whole takana the machzah shekel learns is lahaka. It's a takana to help you. That's what the machzah shekel learns. The Zayin Nekiim argues, and he says it's lahachmir. He says it's lahachmir that you should know that the kesef came from her. Now, what's the nafkamina over here is not such a nafkamina. Again, you all realize, as you saw clearly, that b'diavad we're going to be mekel. So there's not going to be such an nafkamina that way. That what?
If she had a kas, if she wore dirty clothes with a kasim on it, and now she takes out and still sees the same kasim.
Okay. The lashon of, excuse me, I'm sorry. The lashon of machzah shekel is ve'itza toiva l'dida kayav, giving her an itza toiva to do this, which is the reason why some of you asked, itza toiva, why are we going so crazy? The answer is that it evolved into some level of minog, some level of takana, whatever that level was. Therefore, we're trying to figure out at what level one has to be careful about this. Whereas the Machaber doesn't actually even mention white. The Ramah was in white. I think someone asked, what do the Sephardim do about white? It's actually an interesting question, and I didn't see. Because the Shulchan Aruch, Machaber doesn't mention white. It just says clean. So, which by the way, you understand where this goes? This goes into the question that if which we're going to get to in one moment, is women allowed to wear a pad during Zayin Nekiim? This is really the fundamental shayla. This machlokes really centers on that detail. Is that why is she wearing white in the first place? What's the purpose? If the purpose is, as the machzah shekel says, it's an eitzah taiva to make sure what?
Okay. We don't mess her up for free.
Okay, good. What else? So there's more to that. We're going to get to more. There's more to that in a minute. But let's. I'm sorry. You were asking a question?
No.
Okay. So, is she allowed to wear begadim savainim? No. Good. If she needs to. If she has nothing else. What if she messed up? The Miltztaka says we should kanas her. I thought the Elam would appreciate that one. We should kanas her. Ra'ila kainsa. Chachmas Adam quotes the kanas. Kol makom ein ikov avid lavish zvainim ve'im pashav lav shabigin zvainim ra'ila kainsa. Ra'ila kainsa. Chachmas Adam. Fascinating. Yeah, what were you asking? Correct. As long as it's clean. Which, the Machaber doesn't mention white. So of course, according to the Machaber. Now, what happened in the world of Machaber is a little bit difficult. Chachmas Adam adds that if she was able to wear white but was negligent, she should be penalized. But that's a good question. I don't know. Maybe she has to give extra staka. Maybe I don't know. I'm just reading you the Chachmas Adam. I'm not sure what to do with it. Okay. So now, what is the story with the sheets bizman hazeh? A white sheet bizman hazeh. So okay, let me. Well, we can get to it in a minute. We'll talk about pads. We'll see in a moment how it plays out. But Lamaisa, Okay, so you wear white underwear. Gavaldik, that's the kana, that's the minig, that's what you're supposed to do. If you don't have white underwear, you try your best to get. If you can't get, lemaisa is not makif. Good. Are we going to yell at you and kanas you? Ayin l'chachmasadim. Beautiful. Now, do you have to wear a white sheet? So what's everyone taught? You don't wear sheets. Okay. Does your pet have to wear a sheet? What's everyone taught? You weren't taught anything about a white sheet? They did not mention white sheet? I don't believe it. That's no way possible they didn't mention white sheet. I'm not there. I'm not saying that no one mentioned it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. You don't remember? I don't remember.
They told me whatever my minhag was.
Reading, they say. Oh.
I didn't listen to what they mentioned.
So what do they say? They say. Good. What were you taught?
What I need to do.
Not to do it. Was it mentioned it?
I remember years ago we were putting, but the only thing I remember is by in-laws.
Don't worry about it.
Put a white undershirt, but I don't remember anything but a sheet.
All he remembers is the Haley go white undershirt. Okay. So now, and for 72 years, he brings an extra undershirt wherever he goes, just in case. So now, you're just done. Okay. So I believe what they're taught. Everyone mentions that there is something about a white sheet. I don't believe anyone just doesn't mention it. I don't believe it. And the reason is because all the Paiskim come along and they say it's a ra'i lahachmir, it's a minik to be machmir. All the Marakayin says noigin lahachmir. There's a Ramesha which I want to read in a moment because Chayra Ramesha, as always, is the way to go. They say it's a minog, this and that. So first of all,
Well, it's all because it's underwear.
right, meaning once there was. I'm sorry if I didn't speak to that. Everyone knew this. Well, Avada before they wore white underwear, the Shulchan Aruch, the white garment of the Shulchan Aruch morphed into the white sad, in the white sheet of the Shulchan Aruch. Givaldik. Now, question is nowadays if a woman's wearing underwear, does she have to put down a white sheet? Says Rabbi Moshe Feinstein Yerdei Chelik Dalet Siman Yud Zayin Ois Chaf Zayin. Is that where you were? What Siman were you in? Oh, mamish the previous ice. Look at that. Says Rabbi Moshe. You don't look at the. Anytime you look at Rabbi Moshe, we all know that's what happens. You get like, interesting. It's a tshuva about drugs, and then you're learning about coffee. Anyways, I think that's why. If people ask why Rabbi Moshe, like he's in a tshuva in Yeridea, all of a sudden he starts writing about like who knows what. I think it's just to pique your interest. I think it's a curiosity thing. But anyways, Rabbi Moshe comes along and says, she's wearing underwear, says Rabbi Moshe. So what's she putting down a white sheet? Says Rabbi Moshe, toiv. It's proper, it's good. Now, before we continue to the reason, so that what this means is, it's toiv. What does it mean it's toiv? That means a Jewish household during Yemei Niddah puts down a white sheet. I did not just say that you have to travel with your white sheet. I did not just say you have to go through bushes for your white sheet. I did not just say you have to, oh my gosh, I'm on vacation, I don't have a white sheet, and the hotel has a black sheet. I have to now go out and buy a white sheet, whatever. No, it means the proper way of a Jewish household is l'chayra to have down a white sheet. But in any of the aforementioned cases, you don't need it. Why not? Because she's wearing white underwear. Now, Ramesha, one second. Ramesha says the reason for it, which is very interesting. I found it interesting. Why? Let's ask Akasha. Why? She's wearing white underwear. Why should she put down a white sheet?
Meaning the Shulchan Aruch maybe only said
Correct.
because there's no white underwear.
No, he did it. That's bar that he said that. So now the question is, you're wearing underwear, so why are you wearing a sheet? Why put a sheet? So one way to go. So wait, one way to go is what you're saying, which is what the Meir Kohen says. It's a minhag, meaning even after underwear was created, Klal Yisrael continued with the white sheet. Now it's become a minhag at sorts. What does it mean? It's a minhag. It means this is what we do. That's also true. That's also true. So it's pointless. Can anyone think of a reason why it's not pointless? This is what Ramesha says. This is why like Ramesha is gavaldik. Why it's not pointless? Says Ramesha. No, you were close. You were close, but no. You were close, but no. Says Ramesha, Misham. Ramesha. Misham. Two begadim are not mitzvah. Begadim are not mitzvah. You're remembering something else. You're remembering that if there's a beged tzavaini and a beged lavan, and it goes from tzavaini to lavan, that we look at the lavan, but the size of the two of them are not mitzarif. Sizes are only mitzarif on your guf. Okay, says Ramesha, Mishum she'ika dechayshvin af l'she'enan muhudakin mamish legufa. Shei muhudakin. He says there are people that they say I'm wearing underwear, I'm wearing a quote unquote snug tight fitted garment, but it's not tight. The lav kol nashi shavin b'chashiva hiduk. V'gam ha yesh chiluk ben yeshiva l'shchiva, you're sitting up, you're lying down. Ben yeshiva l'shchiva la'amida. Ulchein teiv. What Moshe is saying is, as much as a woman says she's wearing underwear, maybe she's wearing something loose, and she's rolling around in bed, and dam could fall out of her, so she has a sheet. Now, there's a next shlav to this, is that is she only wearing underwear, or she's wearing something else? Whether she's wearing pants like Ramesh's own kula, or whether she's wearing a skirt, or whether she's wearing a gown, whatever she's wearing, there's another layer. But Ramesh is bringing up over here is that there's still a taiv in the fact that you're in the bed for 10 hours a night, you're rolling around, and it could very well happen that it could be there will be dam on the bed and not on the underwear. That's Ramesh, which is very interesting. I thought the Olam would appreciate that. Doesn't seem so. I found it fascinating, whether you did or not. He's just being balabatish. He's being very, very balabatish. I don't think so. Let's say she's wearing a long nightgown. Again, without getting too vulgar, but she's wearing a long nightgown from head to toe, goes down to her toes. She rolls around in bed, her nightgown comes up, and her underwear is not so tight, and she has a kesem, and it misses her underwear.
The blood doesn't shoot out of your body.
Oh, so what's it? What? She doesn't notice it on her body. What's that? Why are you wearing white in the first place? What do you mean? She doesn't notice it on her body. She gets up in the morning, she showers, and one night next day, look down. Oh my gosh, there's red on the bed. Listen, if there are chevra that are finding red on their blinds, and they're finding red on who knows what, l'chayra, it means dam has again a guy. Weiter. Okay. So now, based off of this Ramesha continues and says, what about, do you have to wipe with white toilet paper?
No.
What does Ramesha say?
No, because it's
Says Ramesha, that's that tshuva. He says, no, b'pshitos, you do not have to wipe. Now, what's the $1 million question, which we spoke about a little bit? Is she allowed to go swimming? She's allowed to go swimming. Does she have to wear white when she goes swimming? She has to wear white. She has to wear white underwear underneath, maybe. Next question is going to be the shower. Says Ramesha. There's a Be'er Moshe, the Debetzin Rav, that says l'chatchila she should wear a white undergarment under a bathing suit. Comes like Ramesha and he says pashit shein srichais, but the garment should be nakim miksamim. Chayr, he's pulling out something similar to the mechaber, and that's a vada. That is the minog. No. Pashit shein srichas. She's allowed to go swimming. And Ramesha's raya actually is the harashayis lirchayitz kamaruma. She's allowed to go to the shower below begadim klal, and therefore this should be no difference. There are those who say that maybe she should do a bedika beforehand. Rav Chatzkel Roth in the Emek Tshuva is machmir, and even some of the Heintika Paiskim come along. He says it's adif to take care of this issue. I don't believe this is something that is taught and necessarily adhered to. The reason why, by the way, I just want to point out, why do I mention what's taught? Because these are things in the world of lechatchila. I think in the world of b'diavad, we're not going to ask what's taught. But something which is the world of lechatchila, like should you put down a white sheet, if they don't teach it to the chazan v'kala, then it's a pointless, not a pointless halacha, but it's a pointless halacha. When is anyone ever going to know this? When you open randomly in your Shulchan Aruch Seder, get to Kuf Sadivav, like how are you going to know that? So we have to go with the way that it's taught. That's the limit as to know how the velt. Okay, when you take off your undergarments every night, not you, the Rebbetzin, does she have to check them? Does she have to look at them? You have to look at them. So says the Rav Kiveger, based on a Rosh, the Lamaisa and a Sejetaira, of course. She has to look at the garment nightly. Lias Boydekis l'chatchila atzma ve'chaluka. Lamaisa kemat roiv paiskim go with this Rav Akiva Eiger. Rishlam Zalman, the Lach of a Simla, which is the Shulchan Aruch, from Nissen Krelitz, the Shevet Alevi. They all go with this Rav Akiva Eiger. What's the Olam taught? Right, the Olam is not taught. I don't believe this is something that the Olam is taught. I don't believe. Now, it could be there's a Balabatish over here, but the question is, what's Rav Akiva Eiger talking about then? His woman didn't look. What, they didn't have lights? What? I understand. She's saying a chalukah might be harder to tell. Okay, that's nice. No, that's got a nice diuk. Lemaisa.
Could a woman look at Achila and not look?
So that's the same. That's the other side of the shayla. Meaning, how far is the lechatchila? So there are those who say you don't necessarily have to tell her to look, because lemaisa, you take off a pair of white underwear, you see it's white, blood is red, you're going to see something. Can you lechatchila not look? L'chayr, there's makam to be makel. Basically, the shayla here is in the stimas halashenis. Rav Kiva Eger is pointing something out that Shulchan Aruch didn't say, right? So what does the Shulchan Aruch hold? So you're going to say, what do you mean? If I tell you to put on a white shirt, why are you putting it on if you're not going to look at it? What does it help? Wear white underwear, then get it undressed in the pitch black and put it straight in the laundry machine. What's the point of wearing white underwear? So that's the other side of the coin. But then again, it should have said something. So those are two sides of the coin. It is fascinating that most poskim write that it's a lechatchila. I'm not sure why. Actually, you should know what? I think some of you are just getting forgetful, so maybe I should stop asking you, because many of you had mentioned that you learned from the Oil Sarah, and he actually says that you should. It is advisable for women to check her garment for bloodstains prior to shkia, and he says that she should look every night when he says, in addition to performing b'dikas twice daily, a woman should check her undergarments for blood each day. And the note, he says she should even do it before shkia. Why? Just to know what's going on. If you have to ask a rav, it says in the Hebrew one. No, first of all, the Hebrew one's for the chasanim. The chasanim don't check the underwear. The kalas do.
You learned it in what?
No, but I think no. You can check. I believe.
You're gonna find it.
It's in Zayin Nekiim. Okay, I'll find it afterwards. Yeah, no problem. I'll take it. Actually, I can tell you exactly where it is. You want to know where it is? It is in page 23. The page numbers are backwards. No, it's called Hebrew. Here. Levisha's Levinim. Kol Yemei Zayin Nekiim Zichri Shalachadil Levish Bigdil Levinim. Dahainu. She'abeged Atach Zav Legufa Yebetzeva Lavan. V'cheinagu Shesadinim. So all those who didn't remember being taught it, you were taught it. V'cheinagu Shesadinim Shal Gabi Amita Yeh Levanim. V'av She'ayu Emenah Shal Levish Beged Tachtoin. Mikol Makam Nai Gois Gam Lefer Sadin Lavan Alamita. Who does he quote? Rav Moshe Feinstein. Ein isha sricha lekanech zat b'nei lava nachatos meirglayim. V'chenein sich lovich beged lavik sheleches lerchitz ba yam. Then when he talks about, are we clear? Then when he talks about the Zayin Nekiim, the bedikos, he says v'chein sricha livdei chaluka b'chol yoyim. Da'aynu shebshah shebashet chaluka titzakel olav v'munaki v'in olav kismei dam. So apparently it's called selective memory.
You just made that up. You read your own Hebrew.
Apparently, halavai, I should have such good Hebrew. Apparently it's called selective memory. And
She doesn't say look at herself though. Is that a thing? No, be serious. When here it says look like it's Atzma also.
Well, that can be the b'dika.
no, so I'll tell you, the Vard is, no, the Vard is, or Kiveger, as Lacham Tov said, is they're not wearing underwear. So there's more to look at. Here, if there is a garment that is Samach Legufa, she doesn't really have to be worried about that. Okay, by the way, a shayla I mentioned yesterday, we did find the Mar Malcolm. Yesterday I mentioned if you do an early bedika, when are you putting on your white underwear? Comes along Rav Shimon Eider, and he actually points it out, as well as the Badi Shulchan. I'll tell you the Marmak for the Badi Shulchan is Sifkat Memhei. He says you should put on the white underwear right away, as some people here mentioned. He says right after your bedika, you put on the white underwear. Rav Shimon Eider in his book, he says the same after the bedika, even though you could be well prior to bein ha shma shais. What about if you're not going to the mikvah right away? Another common shayla.
She's waiting a day.
She's waiting a day, whatever the reason is. Does she have to wear white afterwards?
On the 8th day.
Good. Or I'll say better. I'll give you even a more normal case. Sure, her mikvah scheduled appointment is at 9:30 at night, and shkia is at 7 o'clock. Why is she scheduled for 9:30? Because kacha, that was only appointment. So between shkia and mikvah, for those 2.5 hours, is she allowed to wear tzavainim?
So she's wearing white after the thing till the night.
That's what I'm asking. The question is, when does the switch happen? Normally you say at the mikvah, because normally the mikvah happens at the end of Zayin Nekiim. What happens if the mikvah is not at the end of Zayin Nekiim? It's a day later, it's 2 days later, or it's 13 hours later. What's wrong? What's the chiluk? What? No, I have to take I'm going in the other end. I switched. I'm sorry if I didn't. We flipped the page to the next case. Now we're going to the mikvah, end of Zayin Nekiim. When she can take off the white underwear. Good.
Or let's say it's a Friday night and
Good.
there's a period, so she can only wear one period.
I think it's Shema case.
I asked you this once.
Oh, it's a Gishmak case. I saw them talk about it. It's so Gishmak. So let's go in order before the Friday night Erev. Friday night Erev. So you have to know Hilchos Eitzah for that. So I'll get to that in a minute. Get that in a minute. So let's get there in a minute. So Lemaisa, when does she switch?
After the mikvah.
Yeah. So Baruch Hashem, we have beautiful machmirim that love to be machmir, and even if it's 2 days later, for 2 days she's wearing white extra.
I was talking about what she's going when she was later.
What was it? What?
I was talking about when she's going to the mikvah and not.
What's the color? Yeah, it's different.
2 days later? 2 days later it is. There's Moch Dochuk.
Once the Siman Nekiim are completed, a woman is no longer required to wear white garments or do bedikas. Thus, a woman who must delay her tefillah for 1 more day is not required to wear white or do bedikas on days 8 or 9. However, she should not necessarily delay her tefillah. He gets involved in that shmooze. So good, Lamaisa, and that is pretty relevant. This is one of those things that when it comes up, you scramble because it's like he doesn't have a marmukim for this really. This is just like how do you learn like the stimas of Shulchan Aruch over here. There's no like. No, that we've seen. That we have rayas from Dam Chimad. She does not have to do bedikas after Zayin Nekiim up. That we have rayas from Dam Chimad up till 7 days. You don't have to. Once she finished her 7, yeah, which I hope to get to in half a second. So Lamaisa, if you're out of the Erev, so this is a Hilchos Eitzah Shayla, because you can't carry. So what can you do? So someone's going to say, put on 2 pairs of underwear. So you can ask, are you allowed to wear 2 pairs of underwear? Are you allowed to wear this? So the answer is, Stam, in the Hilchos Eitzah, anything that's a garment, you're allowed to wear as many as you want at any time of the year. Stam, that's important to know. Even if you're doing it, mamish to carry. Meaning, one thing. Meaning, it's the middle of the summer, it's sunny and beautiful outside. But you know that you're sleeping overnight, tomorrow morning it's going to pour. So you want to wear your raincoat tonight in a beautiful sunny day. Well, it's not sunny at night. In a beautiful moony day, in order to have a coat tomorrow that is perfectly mutter. Perfectly mutter, as long as it is a garment. So when it comes to underwear, Lamaisa, the proper thing to do, and the reason is, that's why you both are right. In a normal scenario, if she's going to make a Friday night, she's not going to be leaving her house after Tzeitzek Chavim, after the Zayin came up. She's going to be leaving prior. So if she's going to be leaving prior, she should still be wearing white underwear. So what she should do is she should wear 2 pairs of underwear. And then when she gets to the mikvah, after she comes out of the mikvah, she's going to switch. She's going to wear the colored underwear and then put the white on top in order to get back home. What do you say?
Could you take them off at the same time?
I'll kasher l'shicha.
No, because normally
What are you asking?
at the same time, so you might put them back on the same time.
You asking? I'll kasher l'shicha.
Yeah, no, but here you're not.
It's not clear. Kasher l'shicha applies to undergarments.
Does she need to wear it the same minute she wears it? She can put on underwear, put on tights, and put the underwear on top?
As long as she's wearing it, that's called wearing it the same way. Your question was not the, if she's wearing the underwear, I don't want to be like ridiculous, but if you're dressing up as Superman and you want to wear red underwear outside your pants, it's mutter. I'm answering your question. If you're dressing up as Superman and you want to wear red underwear outside your pants, even though it's not normal, you're wearing the underwear, it's mutter. Now, what's not mutter is you want to take the underwear and hang it over your arm as a frisbee. For multiple reasons, that's illegal. And la. So now, how long do you have to wait between the rechitza and the bedika? Rechitza and the bedika. You could ask another question.
In the world of Haitzah,
You could ask.
let's say someone has a bedika on Shabbos and there's no ear.
Good.
The same,
Moch Dochuk.
any bedika, and they need to go show it to a rabbi.
Baya gedola. Ein ma lasot. Ein ma la'asot. You want to do that, you're going to put it back in, you're going to totally mess her up. So the answer is, it's impossible to happen in a case that it's going to be really time sensitive. You're going to have to get it to Rav and Shabbos.
Why?
No, let's say it's a Friday night and it's Hefsik.
She wants to go to the mikveh. It's a Hefsik, so who cares?
Maybe she could do another one. Oh, you're saying it's already Shabbos?
It's already Shabbos. So then she could have someone else bring it for her. Her husband could bring it. Her husband doesn't have to do Kol Shabbos in her mikveh.
What if right before she did her
Okay, let's say it's day 7 and she's going to mikveh and it's
After Shabbos.
No, right
So then after Shabbos, she'll show it to the
No,
Rav.
she's going to mikveh Friday night.
Right before she did a big.
And day 7 B'dika was Shver?
Day 7 bedika was fair.
Well, then she should have had someone bring it to the Rav, and if she doesn't, she has to call the Rav to come to her house, and it's a mess. It's a mess. It's a proper it's a proper mess. Look over the Chiddush, the Reach Nichayach. Okay, so how long do you have to wait?
Is that our Mishnah?
How long do you have to wait before you do the bedika after you wash yourself out? Right. So part of what we're learning over here is there's the din that she should wash herself out. That's not going to determine how long you have to wait. Why would that determine how long you have to wait?
But that's-
Oh, very good. That's what you mean. Very good. So, which is interesting, that are you allowed to do a bedika? Are you allowed to wash yourself out and right away do your Hefsik Taharah a moment later? So the Ramosha says no. Ramosha says no. It's a fascinating Ramosha. La halacha, you're right. La halacha, we're going to be makel. Now, Eitz Taiva is never to do that. You might think that, what do you mean? It's again, I'm not doing halacha right now. I'm saying, well, I want to be clean, so wash yourself out and right away do a bedika. The answer is water, as we mentioned many times, is not a lubricant. Something that our feeble minds have a hard time understanding. So if you put water in an area and right away you do a bedika, you're causing issues. You're making drier with water. Stam, that's Eitz Tov, that has nothing to do, has a lot to do with halacha. But now, in the world of halacha, how long? The Chazon Ish was very nervous, and he said you have to be shas zman miruba after you wash yourself out. Ramosha as well in the Tshuva and Chilik Beis at the end of Siman Ayin Aleph says you have to wait a quarter of an hour before you do a bedika. And the reason is because no. This is halacha. This is not Eitz Tova. What?
What's that?
15 minutes. 15 minutes.
What's the
What's the
time?
reason you have to wait?
Oh, the reason you have to wait is because you have to find out what's going on in the body. You have to find out what's going on.
Take Badika
Yeah.
right away?
Yeah. The whole point of Hefsik Taharah is to know what's going on. You don't know what's going on? You don't know what's going on? So that's Ramosha. Ramosha has a lot of rate on this. They quote Rav Shlomo Zalman. You should wait 10 minutes, but Lamais, if you wait 3 minutes, you could be mekel. Does anyone say you could do it right away? There are achrayim that say that Lamaisa, if you do it right away, and again, this is a very heavy sugya related shayla, which I don't want to get involved in. Shas, again, I'll tell you psak halach in a moment.
That's not, just don't do.
What do you mean? No, but she needs to do rechitza. I'll get to this question in a minute. Let's get there in 1 minute. Lamaisa, how long lechatchila? Ramesh says 15 minutes. Others quote Rav Yashiv as saying. Others quoted they quote Ramesh saying 10 minutes. Someone say 6 minutes. Rav Yashiv says 5 minutes. We just said Rav Shlomo Zalman says 3 minutes. Now Lamaisa, why these times? They're trying to figure out. There are riots of the sugya, which we can talk about afterwards. Lamaisa, the Shevet HaLevi comes along. And he says, "Ach mazman samach l'shkia v'imtamtin l'tucha livdai koidem hashkia yichayil lahasmik es bedicha l'rechitza." She's allowed to do it right away. Which probably there's 2 ways it could happen. Either it could happen is she washes herself out and shkia's in 1 minute. That's one way that it could happen, and therefore you can do the bedika. The other way it could happen is she wants to wash herself out, whether she's listening to Me'ez Tov or she says my body is different. I'm not getting involved in what she wants to do. She wants to do it right away. Lamaisa, there is makom to be makel. What about doing back-to-back bedikos? Comes along Ramosha, and Ramosha is machalik in this nekuda. Again, this is not a real Ramosha. They quote Ramosha as saying that to wash out is worse, whereas to do back-to-back bedikos, that's going to be fine. And the reason is because that doing back-to-back bedikos. Let me just read you the line that why he explains it's okay. He says the reason why water is an issue, tam shamayim shenichnasim mishanim esmaras adam. It changes the color and it can wash away things from previously. Lachein tamtin ad shlo yeh mayim. Masha'ein kein bedika acher bedika. There's no chesar. Lamaisa we're mekel. Lechatchila you should wait. They say something like 10-15 minutes. B'diavad you're allowed to do a bedika right away. You're allowed to do multiple bedikas back to back, but just be careful because, and again, nacham al eitz teva, because you're going to end up causing an issue. B'diavad. I take that back. His case is b'diavad. He's talking b'diavad. There are those who say that even lechatchil you don't have to worry about waiting after washing yourself out. Which I think everyone is coming from the same point. Is there a din you have to wash yourself out? No. So, which you were saying before, I just want to point out, if you're running close to Shia, just don't wash yourself out and do b'dika right away. But now, you might just have an issue, because one of the reasons to wash yourself out was Eitz Tova. Eitz Tova, you might have old blood in there, so now you can do a b'dika right away, and you're going to lose that, and you're going to have blood, and therefore you're going to cause an issue. So, then, okay. That is, wash, what do you say?
Use like a baby wipe, or
It's the same thing. Oh, again, I'm sorry, I didn't even mention that. Washing yourself out, you already saw from the Shulchan Aruch, it says wash yourself out, your whole body, and at least you should watch out Panei Shalmati, you should watch out just your lower area, and if you have nothing else, you do a little bit of water, if you have nothing else, you use a baby wipe. Again, this is to help you, so as much as you can, just to clean yourself out.
During Zayin Nekiim?
We are discussing here washing yourself out during Hefsik Taharah.
Right.
not Zayin Nekiim. We will get there in 1 minute. Literally, that is right coming up right now. So let's go into Zayin Nekiim, Sif Dalid. I would like to get through this whole Sif Dalid. Let's do it. Zayin Nekiim in Sif Dalid. In Sif Dalid. Okay, so before we even dive in, you know how many bedikas you have to do? 14. You have to do 2 a day for 7 days, plus your Hefsik Taharah is 15, plus your Moch Dochuk is 16 bedikas in the world of Lechatchila. If you can't do 16, what comes next? 15. Moch Dochuk falls. Hefsik Taharah, Moch Dochuk, and then your 14 bedikas. If you can't do, you can come in, it's okay. No? Okay. If you can't do your bedika, if you can't do your Moch, you get rid of the Moch, and then you have 15. If you can't do that, what's next is 1 a day. This is the pashtus. Again, I don't want to get too involved in achrayim. Is 1 a day. If you can't do that, it's 1 and 7. Eitza toiva. We spoke to that in Smichas Chaver. Let's make it out again. Now that you all learned the sugi inside, did anyone see anywhere 1, 3, and 7? No. Do you see anywhere that says 1, 4, and 7? No. You saw what? 1, 3, and 9. Right. 1, 3, and 8. 1, 3, and 8. 9 also. 9 also, but first 8. I'm saying 8 comes before 9. I'm saying it, but 1, 3, and 8 would work. But again, this is very important because in the world of Lamaisa, many people go to Rav, and the Rav says, okay, you're having a hard time doing bedikas, do 1, 3, and 8. And therefore, in people's brains, there's like this level called 1, 3, and 8. It's either 2 a day, or 1 a day, or 1, 3, and 8. That's not true. 1, 3, and 8 is an 8. So what is the 8? So the 8 really is to get 1 and 7. What does 1, 3, and 8 get you 1 and 7? It's because you do 1 and 7, you miss 7, which happens for 2 reasons. Number 1, because it happens. We don't have to have a reason why people forget. But number 2 is when you're doing 1 and 7, now it's common to miss 7. Now, all of you are wondering, I understand, she's going to the mikveh tonight and she didn't chap. Like, what in the world is going on over here? Yeah, kacha. What should I tell you? What? Oh, you're saying, that's also, agreed. Or, but I'm saying, even in a case where she's going to the mikveh, it's like, after Shkia is like, tonight is mikveh night. Okay, so first of all, you messed up that you didn't do chafifa b'yayim. You messed up many things. But okay, now tachlis, she messed up. But she calls you up at 9 o'clock at night, and she says, okay, tonight is my leil tefillah. I'm about to start my chafifa. I'm setting my timer for an hour. Whether she needs to or not, we're going to get to. But I only did a bedika on day 1. What do I do now? So she's messed up, which l'chayra. We'll get there in a moment. That's the pashtas. That's why you do 3, so you don't have that day 5 a block day in the middle, so you could potentially get 8 or 9. Now, when do you do the bedika baboiker? Let's now that we're back in the we just went lechatchila to b'diavad. Yeah.
Is there? We're saying that 1 and 7 is best because you can't have a gap of more than 5. Mm-hmm. But there's no mila in a gap of 4 or 3 or 2 or what? I mean,
you're saying why 1, 3, 7 versus 1, 4, 7?
No, I mean it doesn't help to do 1,
Pashtas
3,
no.
5, 7.
No. Pashtas no. Oh, Pashtas no. Now you want to know what is? The truth is, there are rabbanim who do say that. Meaning, we're dealing. We're dealing now 1 and 7. You need to get now. You really need to get every day. You can't get every day. We're going to lessen it. So some rabbanim, you have to know your clientele. Some rabbanim will say, okay, 1 was a shver. Okay, we made it work. Okay, skip 2, do 3. If 3 is fine, then go straight. And they'll end up doing 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If 3 again is shver, they'll say, okay, skip 4 and do 5.
And that's a mile.
Of course, every bedika is better. 100%. Now, and the reason why in the world of practicality that doesn't happen so much is because many rabbanim, unfortunately, aren't mitapel, are not dealing with it at such a level that every single bodika they're dining up a new shayla.
Maisha says the more the merit doesn't apply.
No, it. What do you mean? Of course it applies. Not. Yeah. Of course. Again, you're getting the takana. The takana is 2 a day. As close as you could get to that takana is avada. That's not a shayla. Okay, we'll look at Ramesh afterwards. But I'm just pointing out the reason why this doesn't really happen is because this requires, we did 1, no good, okay, now don't do 2, do 3, we have a conversation at 3. Often a Rav is going to say, okay, it's shver, it's not working, okay, do 1, 3, and 7, do 1, 4, and 7. L'chayra 1, 4, and 7 makes more sense, by the way. Why does it make more sense? In Balabatishkai. Yeah, get more time to...
You could also get 9.
1, 5, and 7 also, but already, again, we're getting very psychological now, but 1, 5, and 7, you're ready too far away from 1, you're going to forget. Chayra, that's where 1, 4, and 7 comes from. But again, whatever it is, that is them. Now in the morning, how early can you do a bedika?
As early as you want.
What do you mean? Well, the question is alois or nates, that's the question. So you're saying nates, why?
Everything goes by nates.
So now, good. This is what I want to be. I want to, I guess, fix maybe. I many times said everything you need. It goes by nates. As we saw in Vestais, yeah.
Why do you even have to do it by night? Why can't you do the bedika at night?
Maybe we'll get there in a moment. Can you do B'dika night? Good question. But let's first go in the Shulchan Aruch and we'll get there in a moment. Good question. But now when you're doing it by Yoim, can you do it the night before? Okay, you know what, let's start there. Not for Nachum Day, we'll start there. Moshe writes, nighttime is command Lesadami. That's where Moshe writes. It's nothing. It's nothing. Command Lesadami, excuse me. The Chayra, he says, Imavar Zman, V'labatka Shavin, Tzich Lev Daik, B'Yisah Layla, to command Lesadami. The nighttime is nothing. Nighttime is nothing. Yeah, but one could say that Yom in halacha just means whatever.
No, it says
I'm saying.
Leilel.
So again, it's not so pashut because there's a Chazon Ish that doesn't say such. There's a Chazon Ish that says that it could be he has a good side that it does help. There's Chazon Ish near Deis Siman Sadi Beis of Kotin Beis says Kol Paiskim Lo Skiru Dim B'Dikas Laila Vein Svar Loimar to Sam B'Chual She Skiru Lashon Yoim the Bar B'Makayim is Perishu Meis Leis Lo Yisais Men Be'Eser Kares Umashma Desrule Linyan Zen Nidan B'Meis Leis. I mean, he sounds like he wants to be Mekel Kamosh Kasal Lamai Shenis Bar Le'el Sev Kotin Zayin Rish La'ayin Til Ravin Sar Klal Maker Dim B'Dika El Yediyah Dim Mahani B'Dikas Laila. It's a shtickle sugya. Lamaisa, B'dikas Leila is not pashit in the pashtus. So at what time in the morning? So I always thought, like Ramesh just said, from the Pischei Tshuva, that the Chavas Das, right, that Niddah goes by vest. Goes by Nates. Goes by Nates. Nates Tishkiya. That's the trivia question. And what are the two halachas that go by Nates Tishkiya? Karbanais and Niddah. And not Alois, that says like Chavim, which is the rest of the world. However, Lamaisa, the Shevet HaLevi comes along and he says, B'diavad from Alois HaShachar is going to work. That's the Shevet HaLevi. Now, I have the same question as everyone else here. Badi Shulchan and Sivkat and Ayin Test is the same thing. I have the same question as everyone else here. Maybe this has to do with the B'dika Laila, that even though we're saying B'dika Laila doesn't work, maybe that's why Alois, I don't know. Stam, they quote from B'Shem Rabberkowitz, Mamish this Chilik. The Vestois is by Nates. Why? As the Chavas Das himself explained, because a woman's vest, a woman's normal way of seeing, goes by the sunrise, sunset. That's why it goes from Nates to Shkia. Masha Inkain, when we're talking about Zayin Nekiim, it's no Sheikhs, and therefore there would be a makkah to be makel from Alois. From Alois. Stam, it's an interesting. What? No one holds that Alois can be lechatchila. Everyone says lechatchila is Stam. Of course, lechatchila is yeah. Okay. So now. Again, Stam, just so you should know, all the Achreinim argue if you can do one a day, what's better, morning or night? Anyone have an opinion on the matter?
Night.
No, not whatever. Shkia, someone's been Ishmashes. What's better?
Shkia.
I feel like until day 7 it doesn't make a difference.
I mean, everyone's giving lots of their breakfast for as far as, but does anyone have a raya? Anyone have a raya? I want a raya. The Maisa, Mechas Yitzchak, the Shevet HaLevi, they speak out that Bikr is better. Rav Eliyashiv,
Why is it better? Ultra memory?
I don't know. It has to do with Sidrei Taira, Chachos Adam. L'chayra, it has to do with Chazaka, L'chayra. Rav Eliyashiv says the same thing.
We said that by Vestas also morning is better, right?
Again, similar discussion. Okay. Now, Lamaisa, and this we conclude, we're really out of time. But Lamaisa, we said you can't be more makel than 1 in 7. That's in the normal world. In a world that, even 1 in 7, by the way, is not so glatt. But it's obviously not glatt. It's b'diavad. But in lahakel, what if not? Let's say a woman does 1-3 and forgets 7. What do we do with her now? Classical case. Someone what? No. If you don't know, so she's in a better situation. Realize.
Do 8.
Oh, you could do 8 still. You have to realize that just 1 is a much bigger child than 1 and 3. Just for the simple reason, if she can't go now, just wait another entire 7 days. So, if you can't just rely on one bedika, which the Shulchan Aruch seems to say you can't, in a world of makas and whatnot, then there are mekilim. In the world of makkah, there's an Aruch HaShulchan that many Da'ilim have seen, there's a Chachmas Adam. If we know that she has a makkah, then there are those that are willing to be mekel even on one bedika. If there's no makkah, no anything.
Option when there's a makkah.
What do you mean? Get a bedika. What do you mean?
You're not going to get a
Yeah.
B'dika.
No, so she has to go to Bodekis.
Just go to get a Bedika
Yeah,
there.
l'chayr, that's the pashtus.
Or wait till the Makil.
Do you have to go twice?
Pashtus, yeah, pashtus. You need 1 in 70 in lakel. In lakel,
Just to get a Hefsik.
Hefsik also.
1 and 7.
Hefsik also. You also the Chasam Sofer that says Lansa, he's willing to be makel, but you realize that it's very shver. It's very shver to be makel on just one. And finally, we'll conclude. There's all these interesting cases. What if I did a Moch Dochuk and then 7? Can Moch Dochuk bleib as day 1? So Rav Avadia made this famous. He has a bunch of chuvas on this. He was willing to be makel that the Moch Dochuk could be called Yom Echad. Now this goes back to our Shaila of B'dika Laila, which Ramesh said is lessa, is nothing. Rav Avadia seemed to have been okay with it. It's fascinating. She does 6 B'dikas and she forgets on day 7. What is she considered? She's a woman that does one B'dika, right? Doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is nothing better than doing just 1. Or just 1 and 3. She could go on 8, but Klape day 7, it's the same thing. And the Shev Levi speaks it out explicitly. That's going to be a bayah. Lamaisa, there's this interesting Rav Yashiv that says if you remember at night, he lets you do the B'dika at night to get to the mikvah.
Even if you did 1, just 1?
Yeah.
Who just did 1 and then day 7 comes to
Yeah.
It's called day 7 still.
Yeah, it's called day 7. Now, if this is a din, dafka in day 7 or not is not so simple. It's not so simple. No problem. If this is a din, just in day 7 are not so simple. But fine. This is basically a sif daled. We basically finished sif daled, which means we're basically up to where the Olam's up to. Going to the beach and pool, we've already spoken about, is not so pashit. Hefsik Taharah, the shalah. You also, the shalah says to be machmer. I don't believe anyone was taught that you don't have spheres aimer, spheres Zayin Nekiim in your house, like the Niddah Yehuda said, as well as other achrayim. And Hefsik Taharah stam is a sugya because there's many achrayim should read how we basically get out of every Hefsik Taharah. They say you need a me'is la'is Hefsik Taharah. Rav Yashiv's lashon, which means a full 24-hour time block. Which to get that is come on impossible because you're always going to have part of the other day that's going to save you. But that's maybe something we'll talk about at another time.